The Ottoman Empire is more than a chapter in the annals of history. It is a living testament to the resilience, ambition, and ingenuity of a people who rose from humble beginnings to dominate vast swaths of the globe. Founded by a small tribe in Anatolia, the Ottomans carved out an empire that stood as a beacon of Islamic power and cultural refinement for over 6 centuries. Their story is one of relentless ambition, political acumen, and unyielding faith, shaping a legacy that still resonates in the modern world. Picture the 13th century, an era of shifting alliances and fractured kingdoms, as the Muslim world grappled with the fallout of the Crusades and Mongol invasions. Amidst this turbulence, Osman I, a tribal leader with a vision, laid the foundations of what would become one of the greatest empires in history. Starting with modest victories in Anatolia, his successors expanded the realm, transforming it from a fledgling state into a formidable power that spanned 3 continents. This is not just the story of battles and borders but also of ideas, culture, and governance. The Ottoman Empire was a melting pot of diversity, uniting people of different faiths and ethnicities under a single banner. It was an empire that celebrated art, architecture, and scholarship, creating wonders like the Topkapi Palace and the Blue Mosque, which continue to captivate the world today. Yet, like all empires, it faced challenges, both from within and without. As we delve into the saga of the Ottoman Empire, we'll uncover the rise and fall of its most iconic figures, from Mehmed the Conqueror to Suleiman the Magnificent. We'll explore their conquests, policies, and the intricate tapestry of life within the empire, all the while maintaining a neutral lens that seeks to honor the complexity of their legacy. The story of the Ottoman Empire is not just a narrative of the past, it is a mirror reflecting themes of power, unity, and resilience that remain relevant today. As we embark on this journey, let us uncover the lessons that history has to offer, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of our shared heritage and the enduring spirit of humanity. The origins of the Ottoman Empire are rooted in a time of uncertainty and fragmentation, where small Anatolian beyliks emerged from the remnants of the Seljuk Sultanate in the shadow of the Mongol invasions. Among these beyliks was a modest yet ambitious one led by Osman I, a figure who would leave an indelible mark on history. The tale of the Ottoman Empire's founding is as much a story of determination as it is of circumstance, weaving together the vision of its leaders and the shifting geopolitical landscape of the 13th and 14th centuries. Anatolia during this period was a patchwork of principalities, many of which were grappling with internal struggles and external threats. While some faced encroaching Christian powers from the west, others contended with rival Muslim factions and the residual influence of the Mongols. It was in this environment that Osman I, a leader of the Kai tribe, began carving out a domain for himself. His charisma and military prowess earned him the loyalty of his followers, while his strategic acumen enabled him to exploit the vulnerabilities of his neighbors. Osman's initial campaigns focused on Byzantine territories, as the weakened empire struggled to hold its fragmented borders. One of Osman's earliest triumphs was the capture of the Byzantine stronghold of Bilchik, which provided a foothold for further expansion. This victory was not just a military achievement, it was a symbolic assertion of Ottoman ambition. Osman's use of Ghazi warriors, fighters driven by both religious zeal and material gain, cemented his reputation as a leader of the Islamic frontier. These warriors were instrumental in the early Ottoman conquests, blending the fervor of jihad with pragmatic state-building. The establishment of the Ottoman Beylik was not merely a product of Osman's leadership but also of his vision for governance. Unlike many contemporary rulers who relied solely on brute force, Osman understood the value of alliances and diplomacy. He married into influential families, forging bonds that extended the reach of his fledgling state. Additionally, his administration incorporated elements of both Islamic and Turkic traditions, creating a flexible framework that would become a hallmark of Ottoman governance. Orhan, Osman's son and successor, built on this foundation, transforming the nascent state into a burgeoning power. Under Orhan's leadership, the Ottomans established their first capital at Bursa, a city that symbolized their transition from a tribal confederation to an organized polity. Bursa's capture in 1326 was a significant milestone, not only because of its strategic location but also because it marked the Ottomans' emergence as a force to be reckoned with. The city became a center of trade, culture, and administration, reflecting the Ottomans' capacity to integrate diverse influences into their growing empire. The Ottomans' rise was facilitated by the declining strength of the Byzantine Empire, which was plagued by internal discord and external pressures. The fragmentation of Byzantine authority provided Osman and his successors with opportunities to expand their territory without facing unified resistance. The Ottomans' use of light cavalry and their ability to adapt to various forms of warfare gave them an edge over their adversaries, allowing them to secure key victories with relatively limited resources. Another factor that contributed to the Ottomans' early success was their pragmatic approach to religion and governance. While their leadership was deeply rooted in Islam, they adopted a policy of tolerance toward non-Muslim subjects, particularly Christians and Jews. This inclusivity not only minimized resistance but also enabled the Ottomans to harness the economic and administrative expertise of diverse communities. The millet system, which allowed religious minorities to govern their own affairs under Ottoman oversight, was a precursor to the more sophisticated governance structures that would emerge in later centuries. By the mid-14th century, the Ottoman state had outgrown its origins as a small frontier principality. Its leaders had laid the groundwork for an empire that would span continents and influence the course of global history. The early Ottomans' ability to navigate the complexities of their time, blending military innovation with administrative foresight, set the stage for the remarkable achievements that followed. The story of the Ottoman Empire's founding is not just a tale of conquest. It is a narrative of resilience and vision, a reminder that even the mightiest empires are built on humble beginnings. As we continue to explore the rise and legacy of this extraordinary civilization, the seeds sown by Osman I and his successors will remain a recurring motif, illustrating the enduring impact of their ambition and ingenuity. The conquest of Constantinople in 1453 by Sultan Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, was a defining moment in world history. It marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of a new era for the Ottoman Empire, solidifying its place as a dominant power in the medieval world. The event was not only a military triumph but also a cultural and political watershed that transformed Constantinople, renamed Istanbul, into the thriving capital of the Ottoman Empire. The fall of Constantinople, prelude to victory. For centuries, Constantinople had stood as the impregnable heart of the Byzantine Empire, protected by its massive Theodosian walls and its strategic location on the Bosporus Strait. However, by the 15th century, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self, reduced to the city and a few outlying territories. Despite its weakened state, Constantinople remained a coveted prize due to its symbolic significance, economic potential, and strategic importance as a bridge between Europe and Asia. When Mehmed II ascended the throne in 1451 at the age of 19, he was determined to achieve what his predecessors could not, the conquest of Constantinople. Mehmed's ambition was matched by meticulous preparation. He ordered the construction of Rumeli Hisari, a fortress on the European side of the Bosporus, to control access to the city and cut off potential reinforcements. The Ottoman navy was expanded, and a massive cannon, designed by the Hungarian engineer Urban, was cast to breach the city's formidable walls. In April 1453, Mehmed's army, estimated at 80,000 to 100,000 strong, laid siege to Constantinople. The defenders, led by Emperor Constantine XI, numbered only around 7,000 but were determined to hold their ground. For nearly 2 months, the Ottomans bombarded the city, while their navy blockaded the Golden Horn. The Byzantines, despite their limited resources, employed ingenious defensive measures, including the use of Greek fire to repel Ottoman ships. The turning point came on May 29, 1453. After weeks of relentless bombardment, the Ottoman forces launched a final, all-out assault. Mehmed's troops breached the Theodosian walls, overwhelming the exhausted defenders. Emperor Constantine XI reportedly died fighting on the front lines, embodying the city's valiant but ultimately doomed resistance. By sunrise, the once great Byzantine capital had fallen. Transforming Constantinople into Istanbul, Mehmed II's conquest of Constantinople was more than a military victory, it was a vision realized. Recognizing the city's potential, Mehmed set about transforming it into the heart of the Ottoman Empire. He renamed it Istanbul, though the name, Constantinople, persisted in many contexts for centuries. One of Mehmed's first acts was to ensure the city's repopulation. He invited people from across the empire, including Muslims, Christians, and Jews, to settle in Istanbul, promising them protection and economic opportunities. This diverse influx of inhabitants revitalized the city, turning it into a cosmopolitan hub of culture and commerce. Mehmed also initiated extensive architectural projects to restore and enhance Istanbul's infrastructure. The Hagia Sophia, the Grand Byzantine Cathedral, was converted into a mosque, symbolizing the city's transformation into an Islamic capital. However, Mehmed ensured that its Christian architectural splendor was preserved, showcasing his respect for the city's heritage. In addition to religious structures, markets, bridges, and aqueducts were built, laying the foundation for Istanbul's growth into a vibrant metropolis. The political and strategic impact. The fall of Constantinople had far-reaching political and strategic implications. For the Ottomans, it solidified their control over the trade routes between Europe and Asia, enriching the empire through the lucrative flow of goods and resources. Istanbul became a vital center of commerce, linking the Silk Road to the Mediterranean. For Europe, the loss of Constantinople was a profound shock. The city had been a bastion of Christianity for over a millennium, and its fall symbolized the rising power of Islam in the region. The event also disrupted European trade routes to the east, prompting explorers to seek alternative paths, an endeavor that would eventually lead to the age of exploration and the discovery of the Americas. Cultural and religious transformation. Under Ottoman rule, Istanbul flourished as a cultural and intellectual center. Mehmed II, an erudite ruler fluent in multiple languages, attracted scholars, artists, and scientists to his court. The city became a melting pot of ideas, blending Byzantine, Islamic, and other traditions to create a unique cultural identity. Religiously, the Ottomans implemented the millet system, allowing Christians, Jews, and Muslims to coexist and practice their faiths under Ottoman oversight. This policy of tolerance ensured stability and minimized resistance, enabling the empire to govern a diverse population effectively. The legacy of Mehmed the Conqueror. The conquest of Constantinople elevated Mehmed II to legendary status. He was hailed as a hero in the Islamic world for fulfilling the prophecy attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, "Verily, you shall conquer Constantinople. What a wonderful leader will her leader be, and what a wonderful army will that army be." Mehmed's achievements extended beyond the battlefield. He was a visionary leader who laid the groundwork for the Ottoman Empire's golden age. His administrative reforms, patronage of the arts, and dedication to statecraft earned him a lasting legacy as one of history's greatest conquerors. The long-term consequences. The fall of Constantinople reshaped the geopolitical and cultural landscape of the medieval world. It marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, a cornerstone of Christian civilization, and heralded the rise of the Ottoman Empire as a dominant global power. Istanbul became the center of a vast empire that would span 3 continents and endure for over 4 centuries. The conquest also served as a turning point in European history. The closure of trade routes to the east motivated European powers to explore new frontiers, leading to the expansion of maritime empires and the dawn of the modern age. Conclusion. The conquest of Constantinople was not merely a military event, it was a transformative moment that shaped the course of history. Mehmed II's vision and leadership turned a declining city into the thriving capital of a powerful empire, leaving a legacy that endures to this day. Istanbul stands as a testament to the resilience and adaptability of civilizations, a bridge between the past and the future, and a symbol of the enduring impact of the Ottoman Empire on the world. The Ottoman Empire reached its zenith during the reign of Sultan Suleiman I, known as Suleiman the Magnificent, in the west and Kanuni, the lawgiver, in the east. His era marked a golden age for the empire, not only in terms of territorial expansion but also in administration, culture, art, and diplomacy. The reign of Suleiman 1520–1566 set the foundation for the Ottoman Empire's lasting influence, and his legacy continued to inspire future generations. Suleiman's rise to power and initial reforms. Ascending the throne in 1520 at the age of 26, Suleiman inherited an already vast and powerful empire from his father, Selim I. Unlike his predecessors, Suleiman's vision extended beyond military conquests. He sought to build a just and prosperous empire, understanding that a strong legal and administrative framework was essential for long-term success. One of Suleiman's first acts as Sultan was to implement a series of legal reforms aimed at unifying and stabilizing the diverse empire. These reforms, which earned him the title Kanuni, harmonized Islamic law with local customs, ensuring fairness in taxation, property disputes, and criminal justice. His policies reduced corruption and provided a sense of security to his subjects, fostering loyalty among the empire's multi-ethnic population. Suleiman's early reign also saw the strengthening of the empire's naval and military power. Recognizing the importance of controlling key trade routes and maintaining dominance over the Mediterranean, he invested heavily in the Ottoman navy, appointing skilled commanders like Hayreddin Barbarossa to lead his fleets. Territorial expansion and military dominance. Under Suleiman's leadership, the Ottoman Empire reached its greatest territorial extent. His conquests stretched from the gates of Vienna in the west to the Persian Gulf in the east, encompassing parts of North Africa, the Balkans, and the Middle East. Each campaign not only expanded the empire's borders but also enhanced its reputation as an unrivaled global power. In Europe, Suleiman's campaigns were characterized by decisive victories. The capture of Belgrade in 1521 was a significant early triumph, opening the door to Ottoman expansion into Central Europe. This was followed by the dramatic siege of Rhodes in 1522, which ended the centuries-long presence of the Knights Hospitaller in the eastern Mediterranean. Perhaps the most famous campaign of Suleiman's reign was the Battle of Mohacs in 1526, where the Ottoman army decisively defeated the forces of the Kingdom of Hungary. This victory paved the way for Ottoman dominance in Hungary and the Balkans, further cementing the empire's influence in Europe. In the Middle East, Suleiman's campaigns against the Safavid Empire were equally significant. His victory in the Battle of Chaldiran in 1514 and subsequent campaigns secured Ottoman control over key regions in Mesopotamia, including Baghdad. These conquests not only expanded the empire's territory but also ensured control over important trade routes and religious sites. The Mediterranean also became a theater of Ottoman supremacy during Suleiman's reign. Under the command of Hayreddin Barbarossa, the Ottoman navy defeated the combined forces of Christian Europe in the Battle of Preveza in 1538, establishing Ottoman dominance over the seas. Cultural and artistic flourishing. Suleiman's reign was not only marked by military conquests but also by a cultural renaissance that transformed Istanbul into a center of art, literature, and architecture. As a patron of the arts, Suleiman encouraged creativity and innovation, attracting some of the greatest minds of his time to the Ottoman court. Architecture flourished under the guidance of Mimar Sinan, the empire's chief architect. Sinan designed some of the most iconic structures of the Ottoman era, including the Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul. These buildings were not only feats of engineering but also symbols of the empire's power and sophistication. Literature and poetry also thrived during Suleiman's reign. The Sultan himself was an accomplished poet, writing under the pen name, Muhibi. His works reflected themes of love, justice, and devotion, and they remain an important part of Ottoman literary heritage. The court's support for scholars and writers led to the production of historical chronicles, scientific treatises, and religious texts that enriched Ottoman intellectual life. The empire's diverse population contributed to this cultural flourishing. Muslim, Christian, and Jewish artisans, scholars, and traders worked together, creating a cosmopolitan society that celebrated diversity while maintaining a strong sense of Ottoman identity. Diplomacy and global influence. Suleiman's reign also marked a golden age of diplomacy for the Ottoman Empire. Recognizing the importance of alliances and negotiations, the Sultan established diplomatic ties with both Muslim and non-Muslim powers. One of the most notable examples of Ottoman diplomacy was the alliance with France against the Habsburgs. This partnership, solidified through treaties and mutual support, demonstrated Suleiman's ability to navigate the complex politics of Europe. The Ottomans provided naval support to France, while French merchants were granted privileges in Ottoman territories, fostering economic and cultural exchange. In the Islamic world, Suleiman was seen as the protector of Sunni Islam, defending the faith against the Shia Safavid Empire and safeguarding holy sites in Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. His leadership elevated the Ottoman Empire to the status of a global caliphate, uniting Muslims across vast territories under a single banner. Challenges and internal reforms. While Suleiman's reign is often remembered as a golden age, it was not without its challenges. The empire's vast size presented administrative and logistical difficulties, requiring constant attention to governance and infrastructure. Suleiman's legal reforms addressed some of these issues, creating a more efficient and centralized system of administration. However, the Sultan also faced internal dissent and rivalries within his court. The most infamous example was the execution of his own son, Mustafa, on charges of treason. This tragic event, fueled by court intrigue and political rivalry, remains a controversial chapter in Suleiman's reign. Despite these challenges, Suleiman's ability to maintain stability and unity within the empire was a testament to his leadership. His vision for a just and prosperous society ensured that the Ottoman Empire remained a beacon of power and influence during his lifetime. Beyond Suleiman, the Golden Age's enduring legacy. Suleiman's reign marked the peak of Ottoman power, but its impact extended far beyond his lifetime. The systems and institutions he established continued to shape the empire for centuries. The legal reforms, architectural achievements, and cultural advancements of his era left an indelible mark on the Ottoman Empire and the world. Even after Suleiman's death in 1566, his legacy lived on through the empire's continued prominence. While subsequent rulers faced new challenges, the foundations laid during the Golden Age provided a model for governance, culture, and diplomacy. The Golden Age of the Ottoman Empire under Suleiman the Magnificent remains a testament to the power of visionary leadership. It was a time when the empire reached its greatest heights, blending military might, cultural richness, and administrative excellence to create a legacy that continues to inspire admiration and respect. The Ottoman Empire, during its peak, was a complex and multifaceted society that seamlessly integrated diverse populations under a unified administrative and religious framework. Its approach to governance, shaped by a deep connection to Islam, ensured stability and inclusivity across an expansive and ethnically diverse territory. This balance between societal harmony, religious influence, and administrative efficiency was a hallmark of the empire's strength. A mosaic of cultures and communities. The Ottoman Empire was home to a vast array of ethnic groups, languages, and religions, including Turks, Arabs, Greeks, Armenians, Kurds, Jews, and others. This diversity was a result of its territorial conquests, which spanned the Balkans, Anatolia, the Middle East, and North Africa. Despite the potential for conflict, the Ottomans managed to maintain relative peace through a system of governance that recognized and respected this diversity. Central to this system was the millet structure, a unique administrative framework that allowed non-Muslim communities, such as Christians and Jews, to govern their own affairs under the guidance of their religious leaders. Each millet was responsible for maintaining its internal legal system, education, and religious practices, while remaining loyal to the Ottoman state. This model provided a sense of autonomy and inclusion, fostering loyalty among the empire's non-Muslim populations. The Ottoman court also celebrated this diversity. Scholars, poets, and artisans from various backgrounds found patronage in the empire, contributing to its rich cultural tapestry. The coexistence of different faiths and ethnicities was not without challenges, but the overarching Ottoman policies of tolerance and inclusion created a society that thrived on its differences. Islam is the foundation of governance. The Ottomans positioned themselves as the guardians of Sunni Islam, a role that deeply influenced their administration and policies. The Caliphate, a title claimed by the Ottoman sultans after the conquest of Mamluk Egypt in 1517, elevated their status as leaders of the Muslim world. This spiritual authority was not merely symbolic, it played a crucial role in uniting the empire's Muslim population and legitimizing its rule. Sharia law formed the backbone of the Ottoman legal system, but it was supplemented by sultanic decrees, or qanuns, which addressed administrative and practical matters not explicitly covered by Islamic jurisprudence. This dual legal system, perfected under Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, ensured that governance remained both flexible and rooted in Islamic principles. Religious endowments, or waqf, played a significant role in Ottoman society. Wealthy individuals and the state established waqf to fund mosques, schools, hospitals, and other public services. These endowments not only strengthened the empire's Islamic identity but also provided social welfare for its citizens, ensuring that even the poorest had access to essential services. A bureaucracy built on merit. The Ottoman administrative system was a blend of tradition and innovation, designed to efficiently govern an empire of unprecedented scale. At its core was the devshirme system, which recruited young Christian boys from the Balkans to serve in the empire. These boys were converted to Islam, educated, and trained for roles in the military or administration. Many rose to prominent positions, including grand viziers and commanders, ensuring a steady supply of capable and loyal officials. The central bureaucracy was divided into three main branches: the scribal, responsible for finance and records; the military, overseeing defense and security; and the religious, managing Islamic law and education. This tripartite structure ensured that the empire functioned smoothly, with each branch supporting the other. Provincial governance mirrored this central system, with governors, or beys, administering regions on behalf of the sultan. Local leaders were often drawn from the local population, a strategy that fostered loyalty and minimized resistance. This decentralized approach allowed the Ottomans to govern vast territories effectively, adapting their policies to the needs of different regions. Economic policies and taxation. The Ottoman economy was robust and diverse, benefiting from the empire's strategic location at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa. Trade flourished, with goods such as silk, spices, and textiles flowing through Ottoman markets. The empire's control over key trade routes, including the Silk Road and the Mediterranean, brought wealth and prestige. Taxation formed the backbone of the empire's economy, and the system was carefully designed to ensure fairness and efficiency. Muslim subjects paid the zakat, a religious tax, while non-Muslims were subject to the jizya, a tax that granted them protection and exemption from military service. Land taxes, collected from farmers and landowners, provided a steady source of revenue. Despite its strengths, the Ottoman economy faced challenges, particularly with the rise of European maritime powers in the 16th and 17th centuries. The empire's reliance on traditional trade routes was undermined by the discovery of new sea routes, leading to a gradual decline in revenue. The role of women in Ottoman society. Women in the Ottoman Empire occupied a complex and often contradictory role. While Islamic law granted them certain rights, such as inheritance and property ownership, societal norms often limited their public presence. Nevertheless, women played crucial roles in both the domestic and public spheres. The imperial harem was one of the most prominent examples of women's influence in the Ottoman court. Far from being merely a place of seclusion, the harem was a center of political intrigue and decision-making. Powerful women like Hurrem Sultan, the wife of Suleiman the Magnificent, wielded significant influence over state affairs, shaping policies and appointments. Outside the court, women contributed to society through their involvement in work and charitable work. Wealthy women often established schools, mosques, and hospitals, leaving lasting legacies in their communities. While their public roles were limited, their impact on Ottoman society was profound. Religious scholars and education. Education was a cornerstone of Ottoman society, reflecting the empire's commitment to both Islamic and secular knowledge. Religious schools, or madrasas, were the primary institutions of learning, offering instruction in subjects such as theology, law, and philosophy. These institutions produced scholars who served as judges, teachers, and advisors, ensuring that Islamic principles guided the empire's governance. The Ottomans also valued practical knowledge, establishing technical schools for fields like engineering, medicine, and military science. This emphasis on education contributed to the empire's technological and intellectual advancements, enabling it to compete with contemporary powers. Challenges to social and administrative stability. Despite its successes, the Ottoman system faced significant challenges. The vast size of the empire made communication and coordination difficult, particularly in distant provinces. Corruption and inefficiency occasionally undermined the effectiveness of the bureaucracy, leading to unrest and rebellion. Religious tensions also posed a challenge, particularly between Sunni and Shia Muslims. The Safavid Empire's promotion of Shia Islam often created friction in regions with mixed populations. The Ottomans managed these tensions through careful diplomacy and strict enforcement of Sunni orthodoxy. A legacy of governance and inclusion. The Ottoman approach to society, religion, and administration left a lasting legacy. Its emphasis on inclusivity, meritocracy, and Islamic principles created a model of governance that balanced unity with diversity. While challenges remained, the empire's ability to adapt and innovate ensured its survival for centuries. The Ottoman Empire's societal and administrative systems offer valuable lessons for modern governance, highlighting the importance of justice, inclusion, and cultural harmony. It was a civilization that thrived on diversity, proving that unity need not come at the expense of individuality. The decline of the Ottoman Empire, a once mighty force that spanned 3 continents, is a tale of internal weaknesses, external pressures, and shifting global dynamics. Though its decline was gradual and spanned centuries, it was marked by pivotal moments and systemic challenges that eroded the foundations of its power. Understanding this period requires delving into the myriad factors that transformed the empire from a dominant global player to the sick man of Europe. Internal struggles, governance and administration. The centralized and efficient administrative system that once underpinned the Ottoman Empire began to falter due to corruption, nepotism, and inefficiency. As the empire expanded, managing its vast territories became increasingly difficult. Provincial governors and local elites often acted in their self-interest, undermining the authority of the central government. The devshirme system, which had produced loyal and capable administrators for centuries, became obsolete as hereditary appointments and favoritism took precedence. The role of the janissaries, the elite military corps, also evolved from disciplined warriors to a powerful political faction. Over time, they resisted modernization efforts and used their influence to manipulate sultans and destabilize the government. Their resistance to reform hindered the empire's ability to adapt to the changing military and political landscape. The sultans themselves contributed to the empire's decline. While earlier rulers like Suleiman the Magnificent had combined military prowess with administrative acumen, later sultans often lacked these qualities. Succession disputes and the increasing seclusion of sultans in the Topkapi Palace disconnected them from the realities of governance. Weak leadership and a reliance on court advisors further exacerbated the empire's vulnerabilities. Economic decline and the loss of trade dominance. The Ottoman Empire's economy, once fueled by control of critical trade routes, faced severe challenges during its decline. The discovery of new sea routes by European powers in the 15th and 16th centuries diverted trade away from the overland routes controlled by the Ottomans. The lucrative spice trade, in particular, shifted to Portuguese and later Dutch and British hands, depriving the empire of a significant source of revenue. In response to declining trade income, the Ottoman government increased taxation on its subjects, leading to widespread discontent and rebellion. Agricultural productivity suffered due to inefficient land management and periodic famines, further weakening the empire's economic base. The influx of silver from the Americas into Europe also disrupted the Ottoman economy. The devaluation of currency and inflation caused by the global influx of precious metals destabilized local markets. The empire's inability to industrialize or compete with European manufacturing further widened the economic gap. Military stagnation and the rise of European powers. The Ottoman military, once the cornerstone of its dominance, failed to keep pace with advancements in European warfare. While European powers embraced innovations in weaponry, tactics, and organization during the Renaissance and Enlightenment, the Ottomans clung to outdated methods. Attempts at military reform were often thwarted by internal resistance, particularly from the janissaries, who viewed modernization as a threat to their privileges. The empire suffered significant military defeats that highlighted its declining power. The Battle of Lepanto in 1571 marked the first major naval defeat for the Ottomans, shattering their aura of invincibility. Later, the Siege of Vienna in 1683 ended in a devastating loss, signaling the end of Ottoman expansion into Europe. The Treaty of Karlowitz in 1699, which forced the Ottomans to cede significant territories in Europe, was a humbling moment that underscored their waning influence. The rise of powerful European states, such as Austria, Russia, and Britain, further challenged the Ottoman Empire. These powers frequently intervened in Ottoman affairs, exploiting its weaknesses and territorial disputes to their advantage. The Russian Empire, in particular, pursued aggressive expansion into Ottoman territories, leading to a series of costly wars. External pressures and the Eastern Question. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the Ottoman Empire became entangled in the Eastern Question, a term used to describe the strategic interests of European powers in its territories. As the empire's control over its provinces weakened, regions like the Balkans, the Middle East, and North Africa became battlegrounds for influence among Britain, France, Russia, and Austria. The Crimean War 1853–1856 was a stark example of the empire's dependence on European powers. While the Ottomans technically emerged victorious with the help of Britain and France, the war highlighted their inability to defend their own territories without foreign intervention. This reliance on European alliances further eroded the empire's sovereignty and weakened its position on the global stage. The Berlin Conference of 1878 dealt another blow to the Ottomans, as European powers carved up territories and supported nationalist movements in the Balkans. The loss of key provinces like Serbia, Romania, and Greece reduced the empire's influence and exacerbated its internal instability. Nationalism and internal revolts. The rise of nationalism in the 19th century posed a significant threat to the Ottoman Empire, which had long relied on the loyalty of its diverse populations. Inspired by European nationalist movements, ethnic groups within the empire began to demand autonomy or independence. The Balkans, in particular, became a hotbed of nationalist uprisings, with Serbs, Bulgarians, and Greeks leading revolts against Ottoman rule. The empire's inability to address the grievances of its subjects or adapt to the changing political landscape fueled further unrest. Efforts to implement reforms, such as the Tanzimat 1839-1876 aimed at modernizing the administration and granting equal rights to all citizens, were met with resistance from conservative factions and failed to satisfy nationalist demands. Revolts in the Arab provinces and North Africa further strained the empire's resources and highlighted its diminishing control over its territories. The loss of Egypt to British occupation in 1882 was particularly significant, as it severed the empire's connection to a key economic and strategic region. Attempts at reform and modernization. The 19th century saw numerous attempts to reform the Ottoman Empire in response to its challenges. The Tanzimat reforms, initiated by Sultan Mahmud II and his successors, sought to modernize the military, bureaucracy, and legal system. While these reforms introduced important changes, such as the abolition of the janissaries and the establishment of a modern army, they often lacked consistency and failed to address deeper systemic issues. Later efforts under the Young Turks, a revolutionary group that seized power in the early 20th century, aimed to centralize governance and promote Turkish nationalism. While these reforms brought some modernization, they alienated non-Turkish populations and accelerated the fragmentation of the empire. World War I and the final collapse. World War I was the final chapter in the decline of the Ottoman Empire. Entering the war on the side of the Central Powers, the Ottomans faced devastating losses on multiple fronts. The Gallipoli campaign, while a temporary victory, drained resources and morale. The Arab Revolt, supported by Britain, further weakened the empire by encouraging rebellion in its key provinces. The Treaty of Sèvres in 1920 marked the formal dismemberment of the Ottoman Empire, stripping it of its remaining territories and reducing it to Anatolia. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk's subsequent establishment of the Republic of Turkey in 1923 ended centuries of Ottoman rule, leaving behind a legacy that continues to shape the region. A complex legacy. The decline of the Ottoman Empire was not merely the result of military defeats or economic challenges, it was a complex process shaped by internal weaknesses, external pressures, and the evolving dynamics of the modern world. Despite its decline, the empire's contributions to governance, culture, and society remain enduring testaments to its historical significance. Its story is a reminder of the challenges of maintaining a vast and diverse empire in an era of rapid change. The fall of the Ottoman Empire marked the end of one of history's most enduring empires. Spanning over 6 centuries, the empire's decline and eventual dissolution were not the result of a single catastrophic event but rather a slow unraveling brought about by internal struggles, external pressures, and the relentless march of modernization. This chapter examines the final years of the Ottoman Empire, culminating in its formal demise in the aftermath of World War I. The long decline. Internal instability. The Ottoman Empire entered the 20th century as a shadow of its former self. Internally, the central authority had weakened considerably, with power increasingly concentrated in the hands of factions, local governors, and military leaders. The central government's inability to effectively manage its territories allowed nationalist movements to gain traction, particularly in the Balkans and the Arab provinces. These nationalist uprisings, fueled by European ideologies and support, further eroded the unity of the empire. Sultans during this period, including Abdul Hamid II, attempted to retain control through both reform and repression. Abdul Hamid's reign 1876–1909 was marked by efforts to modernize the administration, infrastructure, and military, yet his autocratic rule alienated key groups, including reform-minded intellectuals and ethnic minorities. His dismissal of the Ottoman Parliament after only 2 years of operation in 1878 and his heavy-handed policies earned him both loyalty and resentment. The Young Turk Revolution of 1908 marked a significant turning point. The Young Turks, a coalition of reformist officers and intellectuals, forced Abdul Hamid to reinstate the constitution and parliament. However, Their vision of a centralized, modernized Ottoman state clashed with the empire's diverse populations, particularly in the Arab world, where calls for autonomy grew louder. The internal discord created by this power struggle hastened the empire's fragmentation. Economic fragility. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Ottoman economy was in shambles. European industrialization had far outpaced Ottoman manufacturing capabilities, leaving the empire dependent on foreign imports and loans. The empire became heavily indebted to European powers, resulting in the establishment of the Ottoman Public Debt Administration, which effectively placed its finances under European control. The empire's reliance on agriculture for revenue, coupled with poor infrastructure and outdated farming practices, made it vulnerable to economic fluctuations. Famine, particularly during World War I, further devastated the population and economy. Efforts to modernize the economy under the Young Turks met with limited success, as entrenched corruption and inefficiency hindered progress. The Balkan Wars and territorial losses. The Balkan Wars of 1912–1913 dealt a crushing blow to the Ottoman Empire's territorial holdings and prestige. Having already lost Greece, Serbia, and Romania in the 19th century, the empire faced further humiliation as Bulgaria, Montenegro, and other Balkan states united against it. The First Balkan War saw the loss of nearly all Ottoman territories in Europe, leaving only the city of Edirne, Adrianople, and its surrounding areas. The defeat exposed the empire's military weaknesses and emboldened nationalist movements within its remaining provinces. The Second Balkan War, while less devastating, further weakened the empire's grip on its European territories. These wars also exacerbated tensions among ethnic and religious groups within the empire, as the losses highlighted the inability of the central government to protect its subjects. The shrinking territory meant that the Ottoman Empire became increasingly Anatolia-centric, alienating non-Turkish populations and sowing the seeds of future conflicts. World War I. A fatal gamble. World War I proved to be the empire's undoing. The Ottoman Empire joined the war on the side of the Central Powers, aligning with Germany and Austria-Hungary. This decision, driven by a mix of desperation and opportunism, had catastrophic consequences. The empire's involvement in the war stretched its already limited resources to the breaking point. While the Ottoman military achieved some victories, such as the defense of Gallipoli under Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the broader campaign was disastrous. The empire suffered defeats on multiple fronts, including the Caucasus, Mesopotamia, and Palestine. The Arab Revolt, backed by Britain and led by figures like T.E. Lawrence, further destabilized the Ottoman position. Arab nationalist leaders, frustrated by the Young Turks' centralizing policies, sought independence and aligned themselves with the Allies. The capture of Damascus and other key cities by Arab forces marked the collapse of Ottoman authority in the Middle East. The Treaty of Sèvres and territorial dismemberment. Following the defeat of the Central Powers, the Ottoman Empire faced harsh terms in the Treaty of Sèvres 1920. The treaty effectively dismantled the empire, carving up its territories among the victorious Allied powers. France and Britain assumed control of Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Iraq under the guise of League of Nations mandates, while Greece, Italy, and Armenia claimed portions of Anatolia. The treaty's provisions enraged Turkish nationalists, who viewed it as a betrayal of their sovereignty. Under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, a nationalist resistance movement emerged, culminating in the Turkish War of Independence 1919–1923. This struggle ultimately overturned the Treaty of Sèvres and resulted in the Treaty of Lausanne 1923, which established the modern Republic of Turkey. The abolition of the Sultanate and Caliphate. One of the most significant outcomes of the nationalist movement was the abolition of the Ottoman Sultanate in 1922 and the Caliphate in 1924. The abolition marked the formal end of the Ottoman Empire and its centuries-old Islamic leadership. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, as the founder of the Turkish Republic, sought to modernize and secularize the new state, breaking with the Ottoman past. The abolition of the Caliphate was particularly controversial, as it represented the end of a unifying symbol for Muslims worldwide. While the Ottoman Caliphate had become largely symbolic in its later years, its dissolution created a leadership vacuum that continues to shape Muslim political thought. Legacy of the fall. The fall of the Ottoman Empire had far-reaching consequences for the modern world. The territorial divisions imposed by European powers in the Middle East created artificial borders that remain sources of conflict to this day. The loss of the empire also left millions of Muslims without a unifying political authority, leading to debates about the role of Islam in governance and the search for new forms of leadership. For Turkey, the fall of the Ottoman Empire marked the beginning of a new era. Ataturk's reforms transformed the country into a secular, modern state, yet the legacy of the Ottoman past continues to influence Turkish identity and politics. In the broader historical context, the Ottoman Empire's fall serves as a cautionary tale about the challenges of maintaining a diverse and sprawling empire in an era of rapid change. Its story is a testament to the complexities of history, where decline is rarely the result of a single factor but rather a combination of internal weaknesses, external pressures, and shifting global dynamics. The legacy of the Ottoman Empire is vast and multifaceted, touching on nearly every aspect of governance, culture, religion, and international relations. For over 6 centuries, the empire not only shaped the regions it ruled but also left a lasting imprint on the broader world. Its legacy continues to influence modern states, particularly Turkey and other nations that emerged from its territories, as well as global perspectives on empire, culture, and coexistence. Architectural grandeur and urban development. One of the most visible and enduring legacies of the Ottoman Empire is its architectural achievements. The Ottomans blended Byzantine, Islamic, Persian, and Central Asian styles to create a distinct architectural identity. Under the guidance of master architects like Mimar Sinan, the empire constructed breathtaking mosques, palaces, bridges, and public buildings. The Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, built during the reign of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, stands as a symbol of Ottoman grandeur, combining spiritual serenity with structural innovation. The Blue Mosque, Topkapi Palace, and Dolmabahce Palace further exemplify the empire's contributions to urban design and aesthetics. These structures were not just places of worship or residence, they were statements of the empire's cultural and political dominance. The empire also excelled in urban planning, transforming cities like Istanbul, Edirne, and Bursa into bustling centers of commerce, culture, and learning. The restoration and repurposing of Constantinople after its conquest in 1453 ensured its position as a thriving capital, blending the city's Byzantine heritage with Ottoman ingenuity. Cultural fusion and intellectual contributions. The Ottoman Empire's position at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa allowed it to become a melting pot of cultures, ideas, and traditions. This cultural fusion is one of its most enduring legacies. The empire served as a bridge between the East and the West, facilitating the exchange of knowledge, art, and technology. In literature, the Ottomans enriched the tradition of Islamic poetry, prose, and historiography. The works of poets like Fuzuli and Baki, along with historical chronicles by writers such as Ibrahim Pesavi, offer invaluable insights into the empire's intellectual vibrancy. Ottoman calligraphy, influenced by Arabic and Persian styles, became an art form celebrated across the Islamic world. The empire was also a patron of science and medicine. Scholars in the Ottoman court studied and expanded upon the works of earlier civilizations, making advancements in fields like astronomy, mathematics, and pharmacology. The establishment of libraries, schools, and observatories further highlights the Ottomans' commitment to intellectual growth. Legal and administrative innovations. The Ottomans developed a sophisticated administrative system that balanced centralized authority with local autonomy. The millet system, which allowed religious communities to govern themselves in matters of personal law, is often cited as an early model of religious tolerance. While not without flaws, the system enabled Christians, Jews, and Muslims to coexist under Ottoman rule, preserving their distinct identities while contributing to the empire's overall stability. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, known as Kanuni, the lawgiver, left an indelible mark on legal traditions. His codification of civil and criminal laws established a framework that balanced Sharia law with customary practices, ensuring justice and order throughout the empire. This legal system influenced subsequent Muslim states and remains a topic of study in Islamic legal history. Economic networks and trade influence. The Ottoman Empire's strategic location made it a hub of global trade. The empire controlled key trade routes, including the Silk Road and maritime passages through the Mediterranean, Red Sea, and Persian Gulf. This dominance allowed the Ottomans to facilitate the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between continents. The empire's bazaars, such as the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, became symbols of economic prosperity and cultural exchange. These markets offered everything from spices and textiles to precious metals and exotic goods, reflecting the empire's diverse resources and connections. The Ottoman influence on European economies was significant. The flow of goods from the East, facilitated by Ottoman merchants, shaped European tastes and economies. The desire to bypass Ottoman-controlled trade routes was one of the driving forces behind European exploration and colonization, indirectly shaping the course of global history. Religious legacy and the Caliphate. As the seat of the Islamic Caliphate for much of its history, the Ottoman Empire held immense religious significance for Muslims worldwide. The Sultans, as caliphs, were seen as both political and spiritual leaders, responsible for upholding Islamic values and protecting the global Muslim community. The Ottomans invested heavily in religious infrastructure, building mosques, madrasas, Islamic schools, and charitable institutions. They also took on the responsibility of maintaining and protecting Islamic holy sites, including Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. The annual Hajj pilgrimage was supported by Ottoman resources, with routes secured and accommodations provided for pilgrims. The fall of the Ottoman Empire and the abolition of the Caliphate in 1924 marked a turning point in Islamic history, leaving a leadership void that continues to shape Muslim identity and politics today. For many, the Ottoman era represents a golden age of Islamic unity, strength, and cultural flourishing. Geopolitical impact and modern nationalism. The dissolution of the Ottoman Empire had profound geopolitical consequences, particularly in the Middle East and the Balkans. The borders drawn by European powers in the aftermath of World War I, often with little regard for ethnic or religious considerations, remain sources of tension and conflict. Nations like Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, carved out of former Ottoman territories, continue to grapple with issues of identity and governance. In Turkey, the legacy of the Ottoman Empire is a complex and often contested subject. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk's efforts to modernize and secularize the new Turkish Republic included a deliberate break with the Ottoman past. Yet, Ottoman heritage remains a source of pride for many Turks, reflected in the resurgence of interest in Ottoman history, culture, and architecture. The empire's legacy also influenced nationalist movements in the Balkans, the Arab world, and beyond. The struggle for independence from Ottoman rule inspired both unity and division among different ethnic and religious groups, shaping the trajectories of modern nation-states. A symbol of cultural resilience. Despite its decline and fall, the Ottoman Empire remains a symbol of cultural resilience and adaptability. Its ability to govern a diverse population, integrate different traditions, and maintain relative stability for centuries is a testament to its strengths. While no empire is without flaws, the Ottomans' legacy offers lessons in governance, cultural exchange, and coexistence. In modern times, the Ottoman Empire has become a subject of fascination for scholars, artists, and the general public. From academic studies to popular media, its story continues to captivate and inspire, serving as a reminder of the complexities of history and the enduring impact of great civilizations. Through its art, architecture, governance, and global influence, the Ottoman Empire remains one of history's most remarkable empires, its legacy woven into the fabric of the modern world. The Ottoman Empire's influence on the world is immeasurable, and its legacy continues to resonate through modern society, politics, culture, and religion. Spanning more than 6 centuries, the empire witnessed the rise and fall of numerous dynasties, the shifting of borders, and the evolution of civilizations. It was an empire that stood at the crossroads of continents, bridging east and west, offering both opportunities and challenges for those who encountered it. The story of the Ottomans is not just one of political might but of cultural, religious, and intellectual exchange, an empire built on an extraordinary blend of traditions from across the world. A global empire with local roots. At the heart of the Ottoman Empire was its ability to adapt and evolve. While it began as a small principality in Anatolia, it quickly grew into a transcontinental empire that connected diverse cultures and religions under its banner. The Ottomans proved remarkably effective at incorporating the people they conquered into their system of governance, allowing them autonomy in exchange for loyalty. This approach allowed the empire to thrive for centuries, even as it navigated through periods of political instability and war. The empire's success was largely due to its organizational structure. The Ottomans were able to maintain a centralized system of government, where the Sultan wielded ultimate power, but they also allowed religious and cultural autonomy through the millet system, ensuring that various communities could maintain their traditions while remaining under Ottoman rule. This unique blend of central authority and local independence allowed the empire to encompass vast and diverse territories, ranging from the Mediterranean to the Persian Gulf and from North Africa to the Balkans. The Golden Age and its enduring legacy. Suleiman the Magnificent's reign marked the pinnacle of Ottoman power, both militarily and culturally. The empire experienced an era of expansion, economic prosperity, and intellectual growth during his rule. Under Suleiman, the Ottomans became a dominant force in Europe, Asia, and Africa, and their influence reached its peak in the 16th century. The empire's legal and cultural contributions continue to be recognized and studied today, with Suleiman himself remembered as a visionary leader who oversaw an era of flourishing arts, sciences, and legal reforms. However, the Ottoman Empire's decline, beginning in the late 17th century and culminating with its collapse in the early 20th century, shows the inevitable fragility of empires. As the world changed, the Ottoman system struggled to adapt to modern forces such as nationalism, industrialization, and European colonialism. The empire's inability to reform and adapt to these new realities led to its fragmentation. The consequences of its decline still reverberate in the political landscape of the modern Middle East, the Balkans, and North Africa. Cultural contributions and the Ottoman identity. One of the most profound aspects of the Ottoman legacy is its cultural contributions, which have shaped the region for centuries. Ottoman architecture, literature, art, and music continue to be revered and inspire admiration today. From the awe-inspiring mosques of Istanbul to the intricate artistry of Ottoman calligraphy and tilework, the empire's cultural heritage is one of its most enduring marks on the world. Furthermore, the Ottomans played a pivotal role in preserving and transmitting knowledge. Their patronage of scholars and scientists was instrumental in ensuring that key ideas and innovations, particularly in the fields of medicine, astronomy, and mathematics, continued to thrive. The empire facilitated the exchange of knowledge between the Islamic world, Europe, and Asia, creating an intellectual climate that shaped the Renaissance and beyond. The Caliphate and its symbolic importance. The Ottoman Sultan's role as the Caliph, or leader of the Muslim world, carried a spiritual and political weight that lasted for centuries. The Caliphate was not just a political title, it represented the unity of the Muslim Ummah community under a single spiritual and temporal leader. The fall of the Caliphate in 1924, following the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire, marked the end of an era in the Islamic world. The abolition of the Caliphate remains a significant moment in Islamic history, with many Muslims still grappling with the loss of this symbol of unity and leadership. The search for a new form of leadership and unity within the Muslim world continues to be a topic of debate and reflection. Lessons from the Ottoman Empire. The story of the Ottoman Empire offers both cautionary tales and inspiring lessons for the modern world. It teaches us about the importance of cultural tolerance, as the Ottomans were able to rule over diverse peoples for centuries without significant conflict between communities. It shows us the value of innovation and adaptability in governance, as the empire was able to sustain itself for centuries by adjusting its policies to accommodate the changing needs of its people. At the same time, the empire's decline reminds us of the dangers of stagnation. As the Ottomans failed to modernize and adapt to the changes of the 19th and 20th centuries, their once powerful empire crumbled. The lesson is clear: for any political entity or civilization to thrive, it must be willing to evolve and reform in response to new challenges and ideas. The Ottoman legacy in the modern world. Today, the legacy of the Ottoman Empire lives on in many aspects of modern life. In Turkey, the Ottoman past is a source of pride for many, particularly in the fields of architecture and culture. The rise of Islamic nationalism and identity in the Middle East and North Africa has also led to a revaluation of Ottoman history and its role in shaping the region's political and social landscape. The Ottoman legacy is also felt in the cultural practices and cuisine that have endured in the Mediterranean and the Balkans, where Ottoman influence can be seen in everything from food to festivals. The historical impact of the Ottomans is also evident in the modern geopolitical situation in the Middle East. The borders that were drawn following the empire's fall have shaped the conflicts, tensions, and political structures of today. The breakup of the Ottoman Empire after World War I contributed to the creation of the modern nation-states in the region, but but it also left unresolved issues related to ethnic and religious divisions, resource management, and territorial disputes. Final thoughts. The Ottoman Empire, in all its complexity, is a testament to the capacity of human civilization to adapt, innovate, and create a lasting legacy. It was a civilization that, for centuries, stood at the crossroads of East and West, influencing everything from religion and culture to politics and global trade. Although the empire no longer exists, its legacy continues to shape the world in profound and enduring ways. The Ottomans, with their rich cultural heritage, remarkable achievements, and historical significance, remain a powerful symbol of what empires can accomplish when they are rooted in tolerance, innovation, and unity. Their legacy is not just one of grandeur and conquest, but of resilience and adaptation. It serves as a reminder that while empires may rise and fall, their impact on history, culture, and society can last for generations. The Ottoman Empire's story is far from over. It continues to inspire and educate, offering valuable lessons for the future of global relations, cultural understanding, and the pursuit of progress.